Hi there, my name is Kelly Jan. Oh gosh, I hear a big echo. Is that on Krista's computer maybe? Okay, sorry about that. My name is Kelly Jan and I'm an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. And I had the privilege of going with three of the ladies that are actually on the call tonight, Amy, Erin, and Krista. We all went to see Big Al Schreiter. And some of you think, wow, Big Al, that name may sound familiar. And he's actually written multiple books and is really a legend in the network marketing industry. He has over 46 years of active participation in network marketing. So not just talking about network marketing, but actually being part of network marketing. And he gave a seminar in Greer, South Carolina earlier this week. And the four of us said, you know what, we're going to do it. It was an 8-hour time commitment from the time we left our homes until the time we got back. So a full work day, if you will, after a work day, but it was worth it. And the ladies and I were talking about, you know, when we say that meetings make money, that's not by accident, because when you go to these things, that's when you stretch and learn and grow, and you learn more skills. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But one of the things that Big Al talked about was that he, for his first 22 months in network marketing, so 45 years ago when he first started, that the first 22 months that he blew through 1,500 people. No one said yes. And he said that, I'm not just talking about like reaching out and people didn't respond. He got 1,500 no's. And we all know sometimes how hard it is to get a no. But he got 1,500 no's within a 22-month period of time. And he said, I didn't blame the business I was in. I didn't blame the product that I was representing. I knew that the common denominator in all of that was me, meaning himself. And so something's got to give. Something has to be different. And he talked a little bit about, you know, why would people want to join me? And why would people want to take my product? He was just sort of in his head a little bit. And he said, you know, I had a sponsor that said, hey, there's a great product. You've got belief in this product. Just go talk to your friends and they will join you. And I think that I'm guilty of that. When people join, I say, hey, you've taken the product. You've seen what it's done for me. You've experienced what it's done for yourself. Just go out and tell your friends and they're going to join you. And what happens is some of our best friends, we blow them out of the water day one. And they'd say, I don't want to join you. And then we quit because we think, well, gosh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. And maybe it makes our belief go down a little bit. We think, well, I believe in the products, but maybe they're just not for everybody. And we really start to second guess ourselves. But what Big Al said is, no, it's the words that we're saying. If we can just change around some of these words, we can change our whole business. And he encouraged us not to judge your business based on where it is today. That things can do a 180 change if that's what you need it to do. Because when we first join, there's sort of two areas. The first one is personal development, and where we're reading books, we're getting on podcasts, we're going to meetings, we're doing all of these things. But if we don't shift that personal development into skill development, we're never going to be able to grow a business, because there are some skills that are required. And he gave the example of a pilot. And he said, you know, you get on this plane, you're getting ready to fly on the plane, and the pilot stands there and he comes over the speaker and he says, hey, listen, I've never flown a plane, but I really believe in it. I have a vision board at my house. I've written my goals down. I'm super excited about it. I just have a great feeling. You know, how many people want to trust that person? No, we want to know that they went to flight school. We want to know that they have a track record. The same thing with a surgeon. And if we're going to be a professional network marketer, there are some skills that we have to learn. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, our learning is, hey, read this book. Hey, talk to your friends and share your passion. And we don't really give our downline, and when we sponsor people into this business, the words to say and the actual tools to make this business successful. And so Big Al talks about that people make decisions in 8 seconds. And I thought, that's not true. Like, no. He went, well, yeah, it is, because if someone goes into the grocery store and they get to the cereal aisle and they see a box of cornflakes, they don't say, now I've heard of cornflakes before, but I wonder if, let me see if I can find a video on cornflakes, or let me Google cornflakes and read up on all the ingredients, and let me see if I can find the cleanliness rating of the department that this actual box came from. And let me see if I can check out the farm where the grain came from, and check out the driving record of the person who and we get in the weeds. No, we say, oh yeah, cornflakes, I've tasted them, they taste pretty good. Yep, hadn't killed me yet. We put them in our cart. But we seem to think sometimes that people need more information for Plexus. Now, yes, are sometimes people on medication? Sure. Are sometimes people pregnant? They have different conditions. We don't want to be insensitive to that, but people really make split-second decisions with really no information other than very surface information. The other thing, I actually sat next to Amy in the training, and he said, hey, great movie I just heard about. It's about snakes killing babies or something like that. And within those 3 words, snakes killing babies, Amy's like, nope. And again, he said, well, wait a minute. I didn't tell you who the director was, how many awards it's been given. Let's look it up. Let's watch the trailer. Don't you want to hear from all the people who went to the theater and get all their testimonials about how great? And Amy's shaking her head like, nope. Snakes. She may have been out in 1 word, snakes, right? And it's so true. So I want to walk through each of the ladies that are on the call tonight are going to talk about some of the things that Al talked about. Now, it was a 2.5-hour training. We're condensing it down into 30, 40 minutes for you guys. But I will tell you that it's and I say this all the time. So if you're not going to these trainings, you need to be, because every time I go, I think, man, this is one of the best trainings I've ever been to. And I say it again, whether it was Leslie Zann or Carrie Wilkerson or different things. Again, I feel that about this training that we went to with Big Al. It's one of the best trainings I've been to. And it's because he gives practical tips for us to actually get into our business. And one of the very first things that he talked to us about was a magic phrase of just 2 words. So I assume that if you're listening to this recording or you're on this call, that you're taking notes. Again, if you're going to these events and you're not applying the knowledge, don't waste your time. He talks about when you get from that personal development into skill development, that some people aren't ready to develop skills. And if you're not applying what you're learning, you're not ready for skill development. It actually made me smile and nod in agreement, because he said when people are ready for skill development, unfortunately, it's when they're so desperate and they're ready to quit that they don't have any other option than to develop some skills, instead of trying to develop those skills early on in their business. So kudos to you if you're watching, because that means that you are, going ahead, you're ahead of the curve. So Amy's going to talk a little bit about the 2 very special words, the word comfortable and uncomfortable. So Amy, if you want to unmute yourself and give us Big Al's words of wisdom. He called these what does he call ninja tricks or something like that. He'd say, okay, here's a ninja trick for you. Ninja secret.
Yeah. How many of us would love to have rejection-free encounters? I mean, you go to your friend and you say, I want you to join this opportunity with me, but you're afraid they'll say no, right? So he gave us this ninja trick using 2 words, comfortable and uncomfortable, to approach prospects, either customers or ambassador prospects, to really make it a rejection-free process. So it would look something like this. Kelly, I am absolutely comfortable with you coming with me to our Sip and See next Wednesday night. What I was uncomfortable with is not giving you the opportunity to come, because I know what this, what the opportunity could mean to your family financially. Maybe it's about the products. So, Erin, I'm completely comfortable with you trying our products. The decision's totally up to you. But I was uncomfortable not sharing with you that you could have more energy by drinking the pink drink. So finding a way, it's real, it's not salesy, and what in there is there for somebody to say no to? I mean, maybe they say, it's not the right time for me, but you've not given them a hard yes or no. You've not said to them, hey, come join, I need you to come, which is a much harder sell, especially for me. These words have been changing for me because I need a way to not feel so nervous. So, Krista was my partner, and so Krista and I did some work together and worked on these. So I'll do one more. Krista, I'm totally comfortable with you joining me on our 7-day jumpstart. I was uncomfortable not sharing it with you because, I just think that you could really benefit from it. So, just finding a way to do comfortable and uncomfortable that works for you. Yeah. And I found, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
No, go ahead.
So I found that every time Big Al made a comfortable, uncomfortable statement, his comfortable was never a negative. So it was never, I'm totally comfortable with you not coming to this thing. But I was uncomfortable with whatever. It was always, I'm totally comfortable with you coming. He was very positive about it. He didn't, and there was no language in his comfortable. I don't know if you ladies noticed that or not. So yeah.
So one of the notes I actually took is if you do want to put a negative in there. So yes, he did use those examples as well. But he talked about that sometimes if you let people know that you don't really care if they join or not, it sort of takes the pressure off and almost makes people want to do it more. So if you were to say something like, hey, I'm totally comfortable if you're not able to make it, totally fine if you have other plans. However, what I wasn't comfortable doing, like you said, Amy, what I wasn't comfortable doing is not inviting you because I know this could mean a lot to your family. Like with the migraines we talked about with Erin. I'm totally comfortable if you want to continue taking. So, and you can make it a positive spin, not say a negative thing. I'm totally comfortable, Erin, if you want to continue taking your prescription medication and all the things that you're doing right now for your migraines. However, what I'm uncomfortable with is knowing that you are not seeing relief and I may have a better solution. One of the things that I even sent to Erin with something that this week I'm gonna start to send out to prospects that I have never talked to about Plexus at all. And I've added, when I started with Plexus 2 years ago, I think I had around 600 Facebook friends. Now I have around 4,600 Facebook friends. I would say probably 1,000 of those are Plexus people. But that means I've added around 3,000 non-Plexus friends. And so, and I can post this in the comments of tonight's video, but this is what I said to Erin. I know we've never talked about Plexus, and you may have seen some of my posts. I'm totally comfortable if you're not interested. So I wanted to put that out there right there because I don't want it to be a salesy pitch to them. But I would be uncomfortable knowing that I had never reached out to you about something that could make you feel amazing. Like Amy said, how could somebody feel negative about that? You're like, oh, she just wants me to feel good. Wow. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah. So comfortable, uncomfortable. So that really segues really well into a section that Krista is going to talk about. because, okay, so Aaron just posted that in the notes. Thank you, in the comments. Are the 5 decision points that people go through when they are considering if they want to learn more about Plexus or not, or about just 5 decision points, period. And Chris is going to go through all 5, but number 5 talks about the actual presentation where we're presenting information, where we're sending that Ame Darling video, we're talking about the products, the ingredients, the whatever. And how many of us start with the presentation? We're just vomiting out this information and no one's even asked for it. Even if you're saying to somebody and you're asking them to make a decision based on your presentation. And so Chris is going to go through that, but oh my gosh, how many times have I reached out to somebody and said, hey girl, just wanted to know if you wanted to do this 7-day trial with me. And I wonder why that's marginally successful. Because I'm asking them to make a decision based on me just spewing out some information. Well, I've done it wrong. I mean, I've not done it correctly, but not because I've made a mistake. I just didn't have the information. It's sort of, it's ignorance. I didn't know. Now I've got better words and I'm going to do it better. The cool thing is I still went Emerald doing some of the not the best things. So now think about, now that we've got better words, how much better and more effective it can be. So Chris is going to walk you through each of the 5 steps of making a decision, because guess what, guys? That's the business that we're in. Big Al asked us, raise your hand if you think that you're in the health and wellness business. And of course, like everybody in the whole audience raised their hand. He's like, well, you're not. Because when Plexus is deciding on the bottles and the color of the bottle and how they're going to handle their inventory and who they're going to hire to be the training staff and the date of convention and what city it's going to be in and all of those things, do they consult you? No. So you're not in the health and wellness business. You are in the decision-making business. And for people to say, oh, these products sell themselves, he's like, no. Because if they sold themselves, then they would not need you. They would keep all of this money that they're paying you in commissions, and they would be making way more money, and Plexus would not need ambassadors. You are not in the health and wellness business. You're in the decision-making business. That's why Plexus needs ambassadors. And I was like, I mean, it was just, it was so, I just was blown away by that. I'm like, yeah, we are in the decision-making business. We're just not that great at helping people make decisions. So Chris is going to talk to us about what are those decision points. And Aaron is going to chime in on a couple of the individual decision points. So Krista?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you all 5 decision points so you can write them down and then go back through each one. So number 1 is, who are you? So you're thinking this is from the person you're approaching. It's their perspective. Number 1 is, who are you? Number 2 is, can I trust you? Number 3 is, are you interesting? Number 4 is the point that the decision is made, yes or no. And then number 5 is, give me more details. So let's start with number 1, who are you? So the people you know, your family and your friends, they know who you are. So there's really nothing there for you to do. But these are maybe your Facebook friends, they're more acquaintances. How do they get to know you? And I've heard Kelly talk about it, and I've heard Melissa talk about, keep your posts positive. Right? You want to have a positive and a professional Facebook presence or whatever social media that you're using, so that people, when they see you, they are drawn to you. They're going to be drawn to the positive person. They're going to be drawn to somebody who's very professional. And how do you learn how to do that? That's where your personal development comes into play. And that's why our leaders are always telling us, you need to listen to the podcast. You need to hear what your leaders are saying, duplicate what they're saying and what they're doing. That's where you hear the magic words that we're going to hear about tonight. reading the books and things like that, so that you can learn how to be positive. You can learn how to say the right things and do the right things and have that professional appearance as a network marketer, because that's what we are. So remember that when you're doing that, you also want to have things that are of value to other people, so that, again, they're seeing you for who you are and they're getting to like you through the things that you're seeing. So that is, who you are. And if you're meeting strangers, you don't just want to, as we say, puke plexus on them. You want to have some sort of connection. So maybe it's a mom you meet in the park. Maybe you introduce yourself as Joey's mom, or, hey, I've got 2 kids out there, the one in the yellow shirt and the one in the blue shirt. Which ones are yours? Or, something to connect with them so they know who you are in some general sense before you start talking to them about plexus or any other thing for that matter. Okay, number 2 is, can I trust you? So for this one, it was really neat because you often wonder, how do you get somebody you don't know to trust you? And it's finding a common ground with the person. So again, just saying very simple phrases. He gave us several that he just kept going and going for probably a good 15, 20 minutes of all these simple phrases that you could say. Things like, jobs just interfere with the week, don't they? Or 2 paychecks are definitely better than 1. It could be, wouldn't it be great to have energy all day? And just little phrases like that. If, like, taking the example of the mom in the park, wouldn't it be great if we had energy like our kids? That's something that they're going to relate to you and agree with you on. And some of the tips that he gave us is not only these short phrases that create a common ground, but smile. People are more likely to engage with you. They're more likely to trust you if you're smiling at them. And the other thing to make sure that you're on the common ground is nod. When you nod as you're saying something, wouldn't it be great to have 2 paychecks? It would be awesome if we had energy like our kids. Just have that nod and a smile, and people begin to just nod with you, and they smile with you, and they agree with you. All right? So then number 3 is, are you interesting? And this one is being interested to the person you're talking to. Not interesting in your own mind, but being interesting to the person you're talking to. And Erin's going to give us some of Big Al's magic words on how you can be interesting.
Okay, so grab your pencils. These are called the 8-second stories. And once I start giving them to you, you will start thinking of your own pretty quick, but these will get you started. So basically, we need to grab their attention right away and connect with them, or they're gone. They've tuned you out. They don't want to know about gut health. They don't want to know about blood sugar. But these are some things you can say. Okay, here's your pencil, or here's your note for your pencil and paper. Well, you know how you get tired in the afternoon? I found a way to fix it. Well, you know how hard it is to lose weight? Well, I found a way to lose the weight and keep it off. Well, you know how growing old really hurts? Like reaching for your back if you were, Well, I found a way to actually get on the ground and play with my grandkids. Well, you know how you hate commuting to work? Well, I found out a way to work from home. Well, you know how jobs are stupid? I just made that one up. Well, you know how jobs are stupid? Well, I had lunch the other day with Kelly, and I found an escape plan. I'm going to go follow her. So the 8-second stories always start with, well, you know. So those are the first 3 keywords. Underline them. Well, you know. And then say a fact, something that a person can agree on. Well, this spring weather is great, but man, this pollen is really bugging my allergies. Well, kids are exhausting, but they're a blessing. Whatever it is, it's a fact that someone can get on board and start trusting you, agreeing with you. Yes. Now, if we say things that are geared towards plexus, then somebody, then that leads to further conversation. So now they're coming at you, and you're not like, hey, can you do a 7-day trial? They're going to engage with you. So that is the 8-second story. And actually, it really should be about 3 seconds, because that's really our attention span. Thank you, Krista.
Well, thank you so much. It was funny. Big Al said that they've shown that the average human attention span right now is 8 seconds. It's gotten shorter and shorter and shorter over time now that we have the smartphones and all these, just so much information coming at us all the time. A goldfish's attention span is 9 seconds. So we have a shorter attention span now as adults now. We're not talking about toddlers or teenagers or children. Adult human beings, we have a 1 second less than a goldfish. So we've got to talk to people like that. When we're sending someone a Facebook message that's 3 minutes long, or we're sending someone a text that is 3 paragraphs about all the ingredients of Slim, they read the first 5 words and they're like, nope. Big Al gave the example of if a telemarketer calls you and they say, well, hello, Kelly, you've won, click. They didn't even get 5 words in. I didn't listen to the whole spiel. I didn't try to do research and figure out if it was a legit company and would I really be interested in what they're selling me? No. You've got to be, as Krista said, you've got to be interesting, and these stories are what do it. And they say, well, you know how stating some type of problem or issue or something that people can agree on, I have a solution. That's the end of the story. You don't say, and Plexus is the answer. No. You don't say the word Plexus. You say, I figured out a way to fix it. I found a solution. I've got the answer. Again, you've heard Melissa talk about playing ball with people. Do you think that if you're sitting talking to someone and Aaron says, you know how I used to talk about having migraines all the time? Well, I figured out how to fix it without medication. What human being is going to look at her and be like, oh, and walk away? No, they're going to be like, what are you doing? Especially if they have migraines. And that would be an example of something she's going to tell to that person. She's going to say to that person because she is going to she's creating interest. Who is Erin? She's my Facebook friend. Can I trust her? Yes, I've been watching her posts. I agree with some of the things she's posting. And then she says, hey, I've got a story to tell you. She's sharing a personal thing in her life. You know how we both have migraines? I don't anymore. I found a way to fix it. That person would have to be brain dead to not say, well, what are you doing? And that leads right into number 4. So Chris is going to go back and talk about what's the 4th thing that people do in that decision-making process.
Yeah, so like Kelly said, the yes usually is a little more subtle than just a yes. So Big Al was saying, people don't usually give you a direct no, but some people do. And if they don't, it's more likely that they'll change the subject. They'll listen to what you say, and then they'll be like, well, that's great, but what did you think of the game last night? Or, they'll think of something else to change the subject and move on without hurting your feelings. So that's when you take the no, you move on, this person's not interested, and you go on. But the yeses could be well, how did you get rid of those migraines? Or are the ingredients safe? Or tell me more about how you get paid. How are you getting 5 paychecks a week or a month? Do you have to sell anything? So usually if they come back and they're asking you questions, that means they're interested. You've got their attention. They're interested in hearing more, and that's a yes. All right. So your decision-making time, yes or no. If they change the subject, they come right out and say no, it's a no, move on. But if they start to ask you questions or they seem just a little bit interested, that's what you take as a yes. And so once they've said yes, you want to give them the information. However, you want to make sure you keep it high level and short answers. And so, Aaron, you're going to tell us again how you did.
Okay, so Big Al was not a fan. Can you hear me okay? My internet's not always great. He's not a fan of flip charts and videos and things as a presentation. Are they appropriate in some circumstances? Sure. But in casual conversation at the park with a mom on the bench next to you, I mean, you're not going to whip out a flip chart. So there's a way to posture yourself. It's better if you're in person. If you're on the phone, you can still use these 3 things to say. So here's also your pen and paper. So someone leans in and says, well, is it a pyramid scheme? What are the ingredients? Or sure, tell me more. So let's just say they've said, sure, tell me more. What are you talking about? The first thing you say is, well, what would you like to know first? And Big Al says to kind of shrug your shoulders a little bit, like, sure, why not? Happy to answer your question. What do you want to know? So the first thing you say is, well, what would you like to know first? And see how it's super casual? I have nothing to hide. Sure. Let them say, oh, well, what's in it? Oh, it's all plant-based. And, I drink it in the morning. Keeps me energy all day. Short and sweet. And then you say, what would you like to know next? Oh, well, how much does it cost? Oh, it's a few dollars a day. What would you like to know next? And you just keep asking them what they want to know instead of spewing out tons of information. They may only need to know a few things. They've already decided about 4 seconds ago if they're actually interested. They just need a few more details so that when they go and hit click on this $100 purchase, they have like a clue what they're doing, or explain to their husband later what they're up to. So you're asking, what would you like to do next? What would you like to know next until they've run out of questions? Then you say, what would you like to do next? So this is what our job is. Our job is to get them to make the decision, but we have to actually ask the question. So what would you like to do next? Oh, well, how do I order? Oh, well, let's hop over to my website and we'll look at the prices and the products to get the right fit for you. So we're answering their questions. We're not puking plexus. They're in control. We've already bonded. We've connected. And now we're wrapping it up and making a decision. So that is how you give a presentation.
No, I love that. And they all flow so nicely. So number 1, who are you? Number 2, can I trust you? Number 3, are you interesting? Erin talked about how to tell those 8-second stories. Then Krista told us once they hear that 8-second story, if they ask a question, if they change the subject, it's a no. If they say, oh, is that one of those pyramid schemes? That is a yes. I've always thought, oh, it's a no, and I change the subject, then I don't want to talk about it anymore. No, if they say that, oh my gosh, is that a pyramid scheme? You can say, you take that as a yes in your mind and you say, well, you know what? What would you like to know first about it? That's what you ask. You go right into the presentation. They're like, oh, well, because most people, when they're spewing out this whatever, they don't even know what they're saying. It's just things that they have in their mind, or maybe they have so many misconceptions about network marketing or about what the products are, and you're letting them ask. Big Al said that most people only have 2 or 3 questions, and here we are giving them like the whole, preamble to the Constitution, and they really only needed to know, does it have artificial sweetener in it? No. Oh, well, then I think I'll try it. Oh, you didn't need me to go into 15 minutes of dissertation? Nope, that's all they needed. So that's great. Krista, did you have anything else that you wanted to add about the 5 decision points? Any other thing that you wanted to say?
No, that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Erin. So we've got to be able to put ourselves in a position where we can get through these steps. Yes, if you're sitting at the park next to a stranger, you can naturally strike up a conversation, of course. But if you're reaching out to people through Facebook or through your contact list, we talk about sitting down and making that initial list of 100. So what are we saying to them to get them to talk to us? and not just through texting back and forth, but actual conversations, meetings, coffee, voice message, picking up the phone. What are we saying? And so Amy's going to talk about the magic. He talks about the magic text message. And I thought it was pretty brilliant. I've tweaked it a little bit because I think that sometimes you need to, depending on who you're sending it to. But Amy's going to talk to you a little bit about that.
Yeah. So before I get into the meat of the text message, I want to mention that earlier in the evening, Big Al said, how do you get people really interested?
So it looks like Amy is frozen. Is she frozen for you guys? Okay. So we'll just give it a second and see if she jumps back in. And we'll let her know that she was frozen. See, we're like on our, Big Al said that when you talk to people, we're like little puppy dogs. We're like, what is she going to say? He said, if you really want to get somebody interested, and we're like, wait, don't freeze now. It's the worst time to freeze. Oh, I think she actually dropped off the call. So hopefully she'll come back in. Let's see.
I can tell you the magic text. It's awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, get your pencils ready. Here it is.
Oh, wait, Amy's back.
Good.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. And I
Oh.
missed whatever Erin said to introduce it, but I switched over to my phone. So yeah. So Erin,
Okay, so Amy, what we heard you say, all we heard you say was, before we go into the magic text, one of the things that Big Al said, and we're all like, ooh, what did he say? And then you were gone. We were like sitting on the edge of our seat. Okay.
Nope, I'm back.
Are you there?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. My Erin was talking about her internet and now it's mine. Okay, so what did you hear me say? I'm sorry.
We heard you say, Big Al said, and then you stopped.
Oh, right.
You said before you were talking about the magic text.
So yeah, I mean, but Big Al said, and then you wanted to know what Big Al said, right? You all wanted to know?
Yes, we were like on the edge of our seats.
It's the same thing when you approach somebody in person, you know, hey, Kelly, I've got a great story. Your little antenna perks up and you're like, oh, I want to hear it. But how do we engage that in a text message, somebody we're not right in front of? And so Big Al gave us this way to do that. Are you guys ready to write it down? So you can send this by text message or Facebook Messenger, and you're going to say exactly this. I mean, tweak it like Kelly said, depending on who you're talking to. I've got a good story, period. Tell you when we have a chance to catch up and talk. So, I've got a good story. Tell you when we've got a chance to catch up and talk. So we're not going to text the story back and forth. We're not going to answer questions in text. I mean, maybe we will at some point, but I've got a good story. I'll tell it to you when we can catch up and actually talk. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to sit down in person with them. It could be a phone conversation. But getting away from staring at our screens and not looking or actually talking to the person. And I think that Big Al also said, he challenged us really to do this with 3 people a day. I've got a good story. Tell you when we have a chance to catch up and talk. If you did that with 3 people a day for 30 days, you would reach out to 90 people. I mean, maybe you don't know 90 people yet that you could do that with, but you will. And think about how big your business will blow up if you contact and talk to with that 2-sentence text message a day. Rejection free, you didn't ask them for anything. You're offering to tell them a story. Isn't that awesome?
No, it's very awesome. And here's the thing. Then it goes right back into it. I love how all these things link together. because you say, hey, I've got a story to tell you. I've got something I've got to share with you. You know, let's talk this week, or however you want to word it, like Amy said. Then when you get on the phone, you go right to number 3 of that decision-making process. You know how I posted all the time. I think about Lisa Hajnowski and Jan Lee, I know, is on this call. Jan says that the only reason that she joined Plexus was because she was very good friends with Lisa and watched her post all the time at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., talking about, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. She sees Lisa post, I'm now sleeping through the night. That's a story to tell. Jan reached out to Lisa and said, what are you doing, girl? How are you sleeping? Just think if Lisa, during, coming out of that, was able to say, sent a message to Jan or sent a message to Amy and said, I've got something I've got to share with you. I'll let you know what it is when we can talk. They get on the phone and she says, Amy, you know how for like the past 18 months I post every day at 2, 3, 4 in the morning? Well, I figured out how to fix that without prescription medication. Amy, of course, if she has a soul, is going to say, I'm so happy for you. What are you doing? That number 4, that's right there in the decision. We have a yes. What are you doing? Or there's no way that's possible. Tell me about it.
Well, what do you want to know first?
Then we go right into exactly, Aaron's piece. Well, what do you want to know first? Well, what is it? What's it called? Oh, well, it's actually it's a product line from a company called Plexus. Now, here's something that I normally do, which I'm going to stop doing. I usually say, it's Plexus. Have you ever heard of it? I don't want to direct what they're going to ask me. I want them to direct it. I say, it's a health and wellness product line called Plexus, which for me is hard. I'm a yellow. I want to help people so much, and I'm blue, which means I want to talk to you about how much I want to help you. So I'm going to say it's a health and wellness line of products called Plexus. And then and you can sometimes you don't even have to say, what would you like to know next? You can lean in and raise your eyebrows. There's so many nonverbal cues. Amy's going to say something like, well, what is Plexus? Where do you buy it? Well, actually, I've been taking it, and I have a website that I can refer you to. Zip. You're not going into the comp plan. You're not going into 15 testimonials, because right at that moment, Amy might say, I'll try anything. What's the website? Had I continued to spew things out, she might have been like, oh, well, yeah, I probably do need to look at the ingredients. I think sometimes we put roadblocks in front of ourselves, like, Amy, I know you have lupus, so I don't really know if you could actually even take these products. Let me send you the ingredient list, because I want to make sure you go to your doctor and your pharmacist so that you can check everything out, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Amy was ready to buy it. Listen, guys, when people are talking about ingredients, it's just a roadblock that they're putting up because they don't have enough information, and they haven't gotten to that, can I trust you? That's in my completely my opinion. But here's the thing, guys. If somebody's drinking a Monster or a Red Bull drink, or they're eating a Pop-Tart ever in their life, or they are drinking a Diet Coke, they are not worried about the ingredients. And I don't care what kind of medication they're on. I have a very severe allergy now to artificial sweeteners, but I gave that allergy to myself because I drank so many Diet Cokes from the time I was 9 years old until the time after I was 30. And if I'm sitting there drinking a Diet Coke, I'm surely not asking you, is it non-GMO? I don't even know what that means. So are there going to be people that need that information? Yes, but you let them ask you. You don't put that into their head and make your job so much harder. If you guys have not had a chance to listen to the Hero Makers series on your podcast player, there is an interview. It's like an hour long of Big Al. He even gives some more tips. He's just a wealth of information. You can't be doing this business successfully and be a multi-million-dollar earner for 46 years if you don't know what you're doing. And he's seen it from both sides. He failed miserably. I don't think, honest to goodness, in 2 years of doing this business and going Emerald, I've not been told flat out no. I've not been told flat out no 1,500 times. I've not. And he managed to do it 1,500 in a row. Talk about wanting to quit. It's no wonder people start the business and quit, because they get started, we shove them out of the nest and say, fly, go do it, bye. Just this training alone is going to make me go back and re-record all of my Silver in 7 videos. And I believe that more people will go silver faster, because I'm going to give them better words to say. I'm telling them make a list. I'm telling them watch this Bob Hyland video, and then I'm like, go do it. And show me the comment, take a picture and show me in the comments. No wonder people drop out of Silver in 7 halfway through. They're frustrated. They're not seeing it work. And they're like, well, darn, I thought this was going to help me. Does it help some? Yes, but I want it to help the many, not the few. So listen, I would definitely recommend that you go to that Hero Maker series and listen to the interview with Big Al. And Big Al gave us his website for a couple of free audios that you can download. It's bigalbooks.com. Big Al, B-I-G-A-L, books with an S, BOOKS.com. And up at the top, you'll see a big thing that says free. If you click on that, there's 2 downloadable free trainings that he gives. And you know, we've got to take, we're business owners, guys. We got to take responsibility for ourselves. If you're on this call, your upline may not learn this information and they may not teach it, but you're responsible for your business. You're responsible for your downline. And so I'm so happy that you're on this call tonight and that you're going to be learning this information and you're going to be teaching it to your team. I wish that I could have put all of you in my pocket and taken you with me to the training, because sometimes we sit at trainings like that and we think of all the people that needed to be there. But I would challenge you that when you go to trainings like that, try to put those people out of your mind, because they're not there. We're not their mother. We're not their teacher. We're not their boss. We can't make anybody go anywhere. We can't make people even watch this training tonight. All we can be responsible for is ourselves and making sure that we're making the information available. So I'm so thankful for Amy and Krista and Aaron. Thank you for going to the training. Thank you for being part of this training tonight. Invaluable. If you have questions, reach out to me personally. Reach out to your upline. Reach out to any of these ladies, especially if they're in your upline, because as you see them put these words into practice, you're going to watch their sponsoring numbers skyrocket. You're going to see they're going to be the ones that have 10, 15, 20 guests at Sip and Seas, because they're now going to have different words to invite people. These are going to be the ladies to watch. And those of you who are watching this training and putting these things into practice. So thanks for your time tonight, guys. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you at the top. Bye, guys.